Now, IELTS writing task 1, there are a lot of things that you need to know about, for instance, a line graph, a bar chart, a table, a pie chart, a map, a process. So what is line graph? There's certain tips that I would like to share, and it will be quite useful. Now, you see, when you try to write down, if you want to write, let's say, let me give you an example. Let's take a separate document. There you go. It's very slow. Okay. Now, if you want to write anything, all right, depending on what sort of things have been given, all right. So this is your writing task 1. Okay. Now, you have to write at least 150 words, right? And to write down 150 words, there are a few things that you need to understand. You just need to write down. Oops, sorry. Need a spotlight. There you go. Try to write 4 paragraphs. We have introduction, summary, main points, and 2 detailed paragraphs. This is very important, This is very important that you need to understand this. 4 paragraphs, we have intro, summary, main points, 2 detailed paragraphs, all right? Okay, and for your summary paragraph, you just need to look at the big picture and what changes happen to all of the lines from the beginning to the end of the period shown, all right? And also you have to find out, is there a trend that all of the lines follow? There is an overall increase or decrease. What do you mean by this line graph? You can see this, sometimes you would be given this sort of a diagram, and you can see that it's either increasing or decreasing. It solely depends on the line, the section of this line. You'd have a bold line, you'd have a dotted line, you have unbold lines, So, and from here, you need to interpret the data. You need to find out, you need to make sure that you can illustrate it in proper manner, all right? But these are the tips that you need to understand, and you don't need to give numbers in your summary paragraphs. Numbers are specific details. I'm going to share all these screenshots. It'll be a lot easier for you to go through it. So don't worry about it. And here, you just need to know that you don't need to describe each line separately. Well, the examiner would like to see the comparisons made, say in 1999, what actually happened to this line and that line and this line. Once you make comparisons, it'll be a lot easier to make sure that, you can give more information. If the graph shows years, you won't have time to mention all of them. So you can see there are lots of years, 99, 2001, 2003, 5, and so on and so forth. So what you have to do is like the key years, are more important because that will actually help you to describe what actually happened. For instance, the key years is the first year, 1999, and the last year, 2009, So you can see there's a wide range of differences, all right, between these 2 years, 99 and 2009. So over 10 years, there has been sort of changes, right? And also you can go for the median year. There has been some sort of increase, a peak year, Okay, we'll go through that later. First, I need you to understand the tips. And also, once you mention the key years, you should also mention any special years. Yeah, that is what I said, peak or significant rise or fall. The next one is you need to start describing details with a comparison of lines for the year, for the first year shown on the graph. And also, you always have to use past simple past tense, like was, where, like increased, fell. Don't say increasing or falling, because it has already happened. Something that actually happened in the past is something that you need to describe in past tense, not in present form. Like you don't say increasing or falling. You say increased. This is for past years. And will or is expected, predicted to for future years. So don't use present form. Use always past simple for past years. And for future years, you would say will. This will happen, or this will increase, or is expected or predicted to increase. This is the word that you need to use, all right? And also don't use the passive form of statement. For instance, the number was increased. Don't use that. Or continuous, like the number was increasing, all right? Or perfect tenses, like the number has increased. No, don't use that. Let me give an example. Here it talks about the internet users as percentage of population. All right. Now, let me give you a sample question, the way how they ask you, and then you'll be quite familiar with the way how they have asked. Wait, let me just go to this Acrobat file. If I go back, if I go here, You see the writing section 1. Just give me a moment. Speaking. Yeah, there you go. Here you can see that you should spend about 20 minutes on this task. And they will give you this sort of, information like a chart, it shows below the proportion. Now here, it's all about bar chart. We'll come to this later. All right. But you see, this is the way how the questions are being, staged. And you have to write down at least 150 words. This is very important. They asked you to summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features, all right, and make comparisons where relevant. So this is very important. So when you try to make comparisons, you need to keep this in mind. So you're going to compare these 3 different line graphs. Now, this is the introduction. The line graph compares the percentage, and also, if you want, you can also use the words from the question. For instance, here, the chart below shows the proportions of British students at one university. So you're going to paraphrase it, use as much information from the question to paraphrase your words. I'm coming to this chart, don't worry, since I have already shared the sample answer, but let's start with the line graph before I jump to the bar chart. Here, in this case, in this instance, it says the line graph compares the percentage of people in 3 countries who used between 1999 and 2000. What are the 3 countries that we know of? USA, Canada, and Mexico. So you're going to write down the intro in this manner. The line graph, as you see, compares the percentage. How do you know it's percentage of people? You can see here it's given percentage of population. So population, it means people. All right, we're talking about people. So percentage of people. So you have used a different word instead of population. You have used people in 3 countries, which is USA, Canada, and Mexico, who used the internet between 1999 and 2009. So how do you know that it is being used? How do you know that internet was being used? Because it's given here, internet users, right? And between what year? It's 1999 and 2009. So this is the way how you illustrate. This is the way how you interpret the data. All right. This is your intro. Okay. Then we come to the body. All right. We come to the body, and this body, it consists of 2 different points. This is body 1. This is body 1. This one you spent. This is body 1. This is body 2. All right. It's like a summary of 2 main points, and this is your conclusion. This is your conclusion. This is C, and this is intro. These are your big body. This big body is divided into 2 different points, which are summarized. Okay. Now, how do you construct a sentence? It's very important that you know how to construct a sentence. You can use your creativity skills to construct a sentence. You don't have to write down the way how it is written here. You can also write down or paraphrase your words in proper manner. Here in this case, an example has been given. It is clear that the proportion of the population, proportion, they use the word proportion. Why? Because you're using the word percentage. All right. Percentage actually does mean proportion of the population who used the internet increased in each country over the period shown. Overall, then you use this word overall, which is very important. Words like this will actually amplify or give the reasonable explanation of what actually happened in total. Overall, a much larger percentage of Canadians and Americans had access to the internet in comparison with Mexicans. And how do you know that? I mean, just compare the line graph. This is Mexico. And you can see that in 1999, it started off, and look where it ended in 2009. Look at Canada, which is not bold enough. It has a sharp increase in 2001, and in 2003, it reached to a certain point, maybe to its peak, and then there was a gradual, consistency. And in 2009, it has reached its peak. This was the median significant peak in 2003. And USA is also following the same pattern. So what happens is you'd see that a much larger percentage of Canadians and Americans had access to the internet in comparison with Mexicans. And Canada experienced the fastest growth. You can see this fastest growth in internet usage. So this is like a past tense. So you can see that in 1999, the proportion of people or the percentage of people. Here in this case, I'm using the word proportion. It's like synonymous to the word percentage of people using the internet in the USA was about 20%. You see, the percentage is not given, it's blank here. All right. You can make an estimation. If this is 0, this will be 10, this will be 20, 30, 40. In fact, maybe because of the error, maybe they have not actually given here, but the percentage will be given in the exam hall. Don't worry about that. So, but you can easily compare it, you know. So what happened in 1999, the proportion of people using the internet in the USA was about 20%. And how do you know that? If you just go through the dotted line, see, this is 20%, the dotted line. So this portion is like 20%. If this is 20%, then this is 10%, you know, and maybe if this is 10%, this is 5, you know, so 5, 10, this is 15, this is 20. So if this is 20, all right, then you see.
We have to be understand that, like
Exactly. Exactly.
here we can't
You have
see
to.
actually. So I have to assumption.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
10.
it's basically based on assumption, but in the exam hall, you see, they will provide you questions with more details, but here the percentage is not given. But anyways, in 1999, the proportion of people using the internet in the USA was about 20%. The figures for Canada and Mexico, were lower. You can see we're lower. When you use we're lower, this is how you compare, at about 10% and 5% respectively. All right. In 2005, what happened in 2005? In 2005, you can see there is a stark difference between these three different lines, isn't it? So in 2005, the internet usage in both the USA and and Canada, rose to around 70%. So you can see 70%, right? And of the population, while the figure for Mexico reached just over 25%. Okay, so this is like a summary of two different points, summary of two main points, actually. What actually happened is based on the statistics that you provide. One is that 2005, you know, they have been used in both US and Canada, which rose about 70% of the conclusion. You can see by 2009, the percentage of internet users was highest in Canada. When you try to conclude, you would always conclude with the last year, that is in 2009, what actually happened. This is the conclusion, because conclusion means the end. So এন্ডে কি হয়েছে, একটা দুইটা and তিনটা, এটাকে আমরা একটু explanation to দিব যে basically কি হয়েছে conclusion এ. So and actually it depends on the percentage, you know. So you'd have to mark the percentage. For instance, if this is 5, if this is 10, this is 20, this is 25, this is 30, you know, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, in conclusion, what happens? By 2009, the percentage of internet users was highest in Canada. How do you know that? You can see this thin line. It has reached to its peak. It has reached to its peak. It is highest. The second highest is USA, and Mexico is the least. All right. So, in 2009, the percentage of internet users was highest in Canada. Almost 100% of Canadians use the internet, compared to about 80% of Americans and only 40% of Mexicans. It's very simple. It are 150 words. আমার এটা কিছুই না, you know, just এভাবে করে লিখে আমি just screenshot অবশ্যই দিব। পুরো bookটা আমি actually দিতে চাচ্ছি না, because you know এখানে more than, you know what, more than 31 pages আছে। সেটা আমি টুকটাক করে দিব। Then in that case it will be a lot easier for you to understand. The line graph আমরা শেষ করেছি। এখানে আরো line graph আছে। Oh, just wait, someone joined. Maham from Pakistan, admit. Okay. Okay. So this was all about internet users as percentage of population. Then we have international migration in UK. All right. International, first we dealt with internet users as percentage of population, international migration in UK. It ami onno class e ami eta explanation dibo. Wait, someone joined. Rafin Rahman. Okay. All right. Now, coming back to the point. So you see that we have so far discussed about the internet users as percentage of population. And it's not very difficult if we try to reflect upon the words which are given on a clear basis. All these words are quite important, like for instance, words like overall, see this word. And there are other words which is very important, such as like highest, because you're trying to compare. And also you can use this word in comparison, and where lower, This task one is all about making comparison, one line with the other. Okay, I'm going to share this screenshot with you. Okay, international migration UK, I'm going to explain this later, but I'm just showing you the line graph. It has many different patterns. Either it's increasing or, it's decreasing, all right, or it's increasing gradually, right? Or there might be increasing or decreasing. So these are the line graphs. Okay, in case of bar chart, not bar chart, we'll deal with pie chart because I want to explain that. There's a pie chart here, number 4. That's page number 17. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 16, 17. Okay, so let's deal with pie chart. Okay, so you can see that there are 4 different pie charts. Just so you know that watermark.sage.com is a Chinese site. Okay, you can also feel free to visit Chinese site. You can get lots of resources over there. But coming back to the point, you can see there are 4 different pie charts. Okay, now how do you describe these pie charts? You just need to read the information. It's given here. Then you need to compare. We have coal, we have oil, we have natural gas, we have hydropower, we have nuclear power. Now it's all given here. It's all given here everywhere, isn't it? Okay. Now, you see, here we have total production, which is 100 units. Here it's 170. Here it's 90. Here it's 180. All right. And this one is basically the units of electricity by fuel source in Australia. And this one, it's in France. It's given here clearly, Australia and France. Okay. If these things are clear, then it'll be a lot easier for you to understand what they're talking about. And it's all about electricity. As you can see, it's all about electricity. Electricity in terms of what? Units. Okay. If it's in terms of units, then we know that there is production units. And the number is already given here. 100 and 170 for Australia, and 90 and 180 for France. But in different years. Like this was produced in 1980. This was in 2000. Same here, 80 and 2000. So you can see the differences. You can see the difference. You can easily make a stark comparison. Now, let's go into intro and get to know what they're talking about. The intro, okay. The intro, you'd start, since it's a pie chart, you would start with the pie chart. Notice that there will be lots of information in the question. You can easily paraphrase it. Here, the pie chart, all right, pie charts actually, not chart. There's not only one chart, there are more than 2 charts are called pie charts in plural. So the pie charts compare, you have to be careful about the grammar. You don't say compares, because it's more than one, so it's compare. So the pie charts compare the amount of electricity produced using 5 different sources of fuel in 2 countries over 2 separate years. Look at the way how they introduce themselves. I mean, look at the way how it is being introduced. Look at the way how the pattern has been written in proper manner. It's all about the consumption of electricity, isn't it? The amount of electricity that has been consumed or produced, actually. Not consumed, it's actually produced. Using 5 different sources of fuel in 2 countries over the past 2 years. Past 2 years or 2 separate years. What are these sources of fuel? It's all given here. Coal, oil, natural gas, hydropower, nuclear power. Now, so this is the intro. This is the intro. And these are the summary of 2 points. All right. And then we come with a, conclusion. The second para, it says a total electricity production increased dramatically from 1980 to 2000 in both Australia and France. It's undisputable because you see, with the advancement of technology, there has been lots of facilities given to the people. And one such facilities is the production of electricity, which has dramatically increased from 1980 to 2000 in both the countries, Australia and France. While the totals for both countries were similar, there were big differences in the fuel sources used. You can see the fuel sources. Both the production units, as you can see, this one is 100. This one is 100 for Australia, and in France it's 90. And here in 2000, it's 170, and it's like 180. but you can see the fuel production. All right, the sources of fuel. These are the sources of fuel. So all this like shaded, isn't it? For instance, this one, it belongs to hydropower. Hydropower is used here as well. And this one indicates natural gas. This natural gas is also being used, right? Then we have a nuclear power. As you can see, the nuclear power is being used, but there's no nuclear power in Australia. And what else? The dark, this is like oil, and oil is being used here. So these are the sources of fuel that is being used in order to produce electricity. So once we're aware of all these facts, it'll be a lot easier to construct sentences. It all depends on our thoughts, the way how we process it. Okay, now coming back to the point, in the third paragraph, you can see coal was used to produce 50 of the total 100 units of electricity in Australia. How do you know that? You can see this white mark here and white mark here. This is coal. So you can see that 50 units of source of fuel are being used. It's like 50%, in fact, but it's not in percentage, but it's in terms of units. And how do you know that? It's given here, units. It's given here as well, units. So we can see that 50 units out of total of 100. You can see just add all 50, 20, 20, 10. So in total, it's 100. Out of 100, 50 units, right, of electricity is being used in Australia in 1980, right? Rising to 130 out of 170 units in 2000. You can see that coal is also being used, and you can see that it's 130, right? So this is how you try to compare between 1980 and 2000 in Australia. But by contrast, what happened in France? Nuclear power became the most important fuel source in 2000, producing almost 75% of country's electricity. This is the nuclear power, isn't it? This one. There you go. This is the nuclear power. And look at the way how it is shaped. So this is the nuclear power here and nuclear power here. So you can see it was like, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So why we are reading about charts and graphs? What is the main purpose?
Which one? This is the writing class.
Sir, I don't know these comparisons.
Okay, okay. For your case, you're not going to take IELTS exam. All you have to do is to listen, and I'm going to deal with you later. But the rest of the students are here for IELTS, and this is writing part 1, and this writing part 1 is part of IELTS. Not reading. We're not discussing on reading. And how to produce and how to write is something that is given here. It's a sample. I'm going to talk to you later. All right. So you can mute it. And so let me continue this. So this nuclear power, as you can see, I want you to make a comparison here. You can see in 1980, what happened is like 15 units are being used in order to produce electricity. And here you can see that 126, almost 75% of country's electricity is being used. So how do you write? How do you write? How do you shape the sentence here? It's given here clearly. As you can see, coal was used. Okay, that was coal that was being used to produce 50 of the total 100 units. We have also discussed about Australia. This is being done. And by contrast here, nuclear power became the most important fuel source in France in 2000, producing almost 75% of the country's electricity. Okay. In conclusion, what happens here? Australia depended on hydropower for just 25% of its electricity in both years. Hydropower. This is the hydropower. And this is the hydropower that is being used. All right. So they have used just under 25% of its electricity in both years. And how do you determine that it's 25%? You can see the graph. You can see the bar chart, the pie chart. It's 25%. I'm not talking about the 20 units. I'm talking about the 25%. It's like just a quarter. And it says under 25%. It's just almost 1/4. So 1/4 is 25%, but it says under 25%. But the amount of electricity produced using this type of power fell from 5 to only 2 units in France. And then, can you please mute it? Okay. Oil, on the other hand, remained a relatively important fuel source in France, but its use declined in Australia. Both countries relied on natural gas for electricity production, significantly more in 1980 than in 2000. This is the way how you should write, It's only 170 words. Any confusion? Any doubts? Questions? If not,
Sir, I have a
then
question. I have
yeah,
it.
sure.
I think from this pie chart, every person's writing style will be different, right? Other
Yes, exactly.
if I write that, if I give the importance of nuclear power, okay, and other
Mhm.
person give the importance on oil, their writing
Mhm.
is not actually that should be wrong or right. I want to say that
It's
just like
yeah. Hmm.
it's just
Go ahead.
writing
Mhm.
just maintaining the step like introduction, conclusion, summaries, actually description, like that, and they
Mhm.
just wanted to test the how can I explain this pie chart just like that, or
Mhm.
if I give the wrong answer, or I think that it's important for me but for the examiner his think that is not right, for this reason they will be cut my mark or something like
It actually
uh,
depends on how you interpret your data. When you interpret your
okay.
data, you just give as much information as is possible to ensure that whatever you say, whatever you write is crystal clear. For instance, when you tried explaining about nuclear power, you can see that only France used nuclear power, but you see Australia did not use nuclear power. So you will only write briefly about nuclear power, which is given here somewhere. And if you want to write about coil, all right, so you can write about coil, and you can see both the countries have used coil, and you can interpret the data, but just don't leave one out and write something more about, let's say you have written about coal and nuclear power, but you have skipped the rest, oil, natural gas, hydropower, then definitely you will lose marks. You have
Okay.
to write a bit of information. See here, in this case, coil is used. Let me just underline, then it'll be a lot easier. Let's find out. Here they have used coil. There you go. 1 second. Here, they have used coil. And then we have nuclear power here. Then we have hydropower here. All right. And what else? Other electricity production. Is there any more production? Any more sources of fuel? They have used
Nuclear.
5 different sources of fuel. Yes, they have used nuclear. That is what I've mentioned. Did I mention oil? Of course, there's an oil here. You can see that oil. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And what else? Natural gas. Also the natural gas. Where is natural gas? So if you write down all these, yeah, there you go, natural gas. So if you cover all the aspects of the sources of fuel, then you'll get good marks. I can't
Okay,
guarantee that you'll get full marks.
I have to touch all actually point what they will be
Exactly.
given.
All points. All points. More importantly, you have to also make a comparison between Australia in 1980 and 2000. You can see the number of units that has been produced. All right. So you can see the amount of electricity produced using 5 different sources as well. That's an intro, but you can also talk about 1980 and 2000, both Australia and France. And in this way, what happens is that you have given as much detailed information based on the pie chart. I'll give you another example. That is something that I have already shared here. Okay, it's loading. Okay, here, this is like in test 2 writing section. You can easily see, not this one. Let's go for test 1, actually. I think I have shared about test 1. There's more information in test 1. Section 4. Give me a moment. This is speaking. Yeah, here. So you can see there are 6 pie charts. And here you should spend about 20 minutes on this task. Of course, that's something that is mentioned. The chart below shows the percentage of water used for different purposes in 6 areas of the world. 6 areas. What are the 6 areas? You can pinpoint: North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Central Asia, and Southeast Asia. This is where we live, isn't it? Okay. All right. And what else? And you can see these are the percentage that is being given. If you try to study, then it'll be a lot easier for you to understand and make comparisons, or between all these countries. All right. Now, what are the colors? Like you can see, this is a sky blue color. Sky blue color here. This is sky blue here and here. These are the industrial use. Okay. All right. Then what about the agricultural use? You can see the agricultural use, it's quite dominant, isn't it? It's quite dominant. Okay. And then we have domestic use, which is used at a minimum rate, isn't it? There you go. These are the minimum rate. Now we are aware of what actually happened. It's all about the percentage of water used for different purposes in 6 areas of the world. Okay, different purposes. Different purposes like what? Industrial use, agricultural use, domestic use. Normally we use water for domestic use because we are not an industrialist. Now let's say our forefathers or fathers or our elderly people, if they're working as an industrialist, if the profession is industrialist, they definitely use water for industrial use, which you can see it here in light blue color or sky blue color. Now, what about the agricultural use? If you see farmers, all right, using water, then you can definitely see that they would use agricultural use. In fact, Bangladesh uses water for agricultural use. How do we generate rice or paddy fields from paddy fields otherwise, isn't it? Okay, then you just need to summarize information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So when you try to make comparisons, you have to jot down the points, the name of these countries, all right, which is very important. These countries, you can easily make comparisons based on the information given here. Okay, I'll share some sample answer, which will be quite important for all of you. This is the sample test which I'm going to provide you, and it totally depends on what we have studied. So I want you to go through the intro. You see this, give me a moment. So this is the intro, and this is the body, and this one is the conclusion. So in your body, in your intro, you can see the pie chart illustrates. You can use this word illustrates water usage in 6 different regions around the world. Now, how are you going to use these words in proper manner? You can paraphrase it, you know. You can see that the charts below show the percentage of water used for different purposes, right? In 6 areas of the world. You can paraphrase it. When you paraphrase it, you can write down in this manner. The pie chart illustrates water usage in 6 different regions around the world. Notably, you can see all these words that are underlined. These are quite useful for your vocabulary purposes. Notably, Europe consumes the greatest quantity of water for industrial purposes. How do you know? Just go to the pie chart. Let's go here. Maybe it's given here. You can see that Europe, 53% of industrial use, isn't it? So 53% is basically, if you just compare this with other graphs, you can see that North America is the second largest, you know, that is the water consumption for industrial use. But first is Europe. Europe consumes the greatest quantity. So when you use a word like greatest, you know, it shows that you have compared. This is a superlative adjective, not comparative. Superlative adjective is like if there's more than one, more than 2 actually, then you try to compare. So since it's greatest, so you'd write the word greatest quantity of water for industrial purposes. If it's like comparative, you would say greater. But since it's superlative adjective, you know, Europe dominates all. So which is why it is greatest quantity of water for industrial purposes. Closely followed by North America. Closely followed by North America. You can see that 48% for North America. Okay. The other 4 regions. What are the other 4 regions? We have South America, Africa, Central Asia, Southeast Asia. What happens to other 4 regions? They use significantly less water for industrial purposes. Significantly less. How do you know? You can see this industrial usage. It's in orange color, isn't it? So you can see this. Significantly less. Significantly less. All right. This one is dominating. All right. And this one is 48%. So as you study the graph or the pie chart, it's all the same here. It's the same thing here. You can see 53% here and 48%. But this is what's in black and white, and this is colorful. So anyways, coming back to the point, and as you can see that you can use the words significantly less. It shows that you're comparing water for industrial purposes, but use water predominantly for agriculture. Now you can see the agricultural use, blue. You know, this is dominating everywhere, even here. So 84, Central Asia, this is dominating, followed by Africa. All right. And then Southeast Asia, and then South America. And the list is North America. So this is for agricultural use. Okay. Both North America and Europe consume much less water for its use in agriculture. So here we have in intro part, we have dealt with industrial purposes. Here, we're going to talk about agricultural purposes. All right. And what else? Yeah, it's all about agricultural purposes. So both North America and Europe consume much less water for use in agriculture than the other four regions. In contrast, see here, using the word in contrast. Again, you're trying to compare. In three of those regions, like Africa, Southeast Asia, and Central Asia, what happens here? Water used for agriculture accounts for more than 80%. How do you know that? You can see this. You can see this here. All right, this is 84. This is 88. This is 81. So it's very clear that you can see that it's given that more than 80% of total water consumed, right, in each region. Africa, Southeast Asia, and Central Asia have considerable similar water consumption profiles. Interestingly, South America, while predominantly using water for agriculture, actually consumes more water for domestic purpose than both North America and Europe. So far, we dealt with agriculture. Here, we talked about industrial, and here we are talking about domestic purpose. There you go. And you can see that South America, if you go to South America, and the domestic purpose is being used, 19% here. It's majority, right? This is majority, 19%, followed by Europe 15, and 13 here. And we don't use domestic purposes. So they use more water for domestic purposes. South America uses more water for domestic purposes. So here it's clearly mentioned. Interestingly, South America, while predominantly using water for agriculture, actually consumes more water for domestic purposes than both North America and Europe. So data, in conclusion, there you go. The data provided clearly illustrates the difference between the heavily industrialized economies of North America and Europe and non-industrialized economies such as those of South America, Southeast Asia, and Central Asia in terms of water consumption. It's very clear, it's very simple. And here it's more than 150 words, maybe 170 words in total. This is how you describe, and making a stark comparison of all these, in proper manner. So I'm going to share the slides. It'll make your life easier, but I want you to solve this question, which is given here. Where is it? This is in text 2, no, test 1 of IELTS book 1. In fact, is it book 1? No, sorry, book 11. Book 11. We have dealt with reading section. So since I'm going to share you the sample answer, but I just want you to start writing in your own words, and I want you to, in the next class, I want you to submit me your articles. Just write down in 150 words. It's given here, write at least 150 words. It doesn't mean that you don't exceed 150 words. It means that you have to write at least minimum. I want you to exceed 150 words, but not more than 170 or 180. I don't want you to write much, but don't write below 150 words. All right, just have to make sure that you have to write at least 150 words. So this is going to be your homework. All right.
So it is homework for next class.
Exactly. I just want to see how you write, and I'm going to correct your mistakes, provided that you share a screenshot. Once you share me a screenshot, then it'll be a lot easier for me to check your answers in proper manner. So what I'm going to do is, hold on, I'm just going to share this slide. 1 second. There you go. This writing. And I'm gonna, for Pantaput branch, I have provided you the homework, but I just want to make sure that you also write down this one. And I also am going to share the sample answer. So this is your writing task 1. This is the question, and this is the sample answer. And I just want you to write down all these in your own words. You can take more information from here, and it will be helpful if you just jot down the names, not names, sorry, jot down the words actually, such as notably, greatest, closely followed, significantly less, predominantly. I want you to use these words, In that case, it'll be a lot easier for you to write down. Okay, and whatever we have discussed before, the line graphs, all right, this is the line graph, this is the sample, and so I'm going to share it here. I just want you to study line graph as well. I'm not giving any homework from line graph. but I'm just giving you certain points. These tips for line graph is quite important. I just want you to go through it. It'll give you the idea on how to write down. But first, I want you to start writing on this particular passage. All right, now I want to see how you write. And based on your writing, and I'm going to see if you have made any mistake. It doesn't really matter if you make mistake, but I'm going to see the pattern. And then I'm going to correct your mistakes, provided that you share your screenshots in this group. For Panthavat branch, you can share this here. And hope I made myself clear. And is there any confusion? Please let me know.
Homework, both.
Sorry, yeah. Exactly.
2 topics is homework.
Sorry?
2 topics is homework for next class.
Yes, of course, definitely.
Okay.
First is reading comprehension. Now, I just want to make myself clear. I just want to make sure that you practice your reading comprehension. The reading will continue. All right. Let me give an example. For instance, here, give me a moment. See, so far I discussed about book 7 to book 15, all the reading comprehension exercises. You see, it consists of, wait, 1 second. I'm going to use a spotlight. So it consists of 4 tests in book, right? 4 tests per book. We have 9 books so far. We have 36 texts. We have 3 passages per test, isn't it? In total, you have like 118 passages. 118 passages. You need to complete all these passages. So you have both the homeworks. One is reading comprehension and one is writing task 1. All right. I have provided you only 1 writing task. All right. But you have to also complete your reading task. You know why? Because we have to make sure that we complete 118 passages. So for online students, you have like 106 passages. For Panthavat branch, I think you have 118. So try to complete 3 passages per day. You know, this is must. This is every day. This is a homework for every day. I don't need to explain it to you every day, because all I need is the amount of practice that you make while solving all the questions from the reading passage. So 3 passages every day will make your life a lot easier, because what happens is under exam conditions, you have to complete 3 passages in 1 hour. So I'm giving you 3 hours every day, you know, for your own development. And once you mature, once you develop yourself, it will be quite useful for you to complete all these passages on time once you develop. So you'd have like 60 days. You'd have like 60 days. And on average, you'd have to complete 1.7 passages per day. In other words, 2 passages per day. But I want you to complete 3 passages per day, you know. So this is your homework. This is your fixed homework. That is 3 passages every day. This is your fixed homework. And apart from this, I want you to complete your writing text. This is writing task 1. So this is from book 11, actually. I've already shared a screenshot. Yeah. Mom, not now. Not now. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
I'll talk to you later. Because you're not an IELTS student. You're just here to improve your English. So your one is different. Oh, sorry. All right, that's all for today. If there's any more confusions, please let me know. And then inshallah, we will continue our classes. And the class, okay, regarding the lockdown, you see, if there is a imposition, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that if the lockdown is imposed from 1st of July, then there might be a time time schedule changes. You know, it's like normally I take classes on Saturdays, Mondays, and Wednesdays for the online students. And for Panthavat, it's like Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So I'm going to synchronize the time. I'm just going to make sure that all of you can attend the classes in proper format. Most probably, it's going to be held on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, effective from 3:30 or 4 o'clock. So I'm going to announce that depending on the situation tomorrow.
One problem actually, Saturday every time, every Sunday, Tuesday and Thursday. Okay, fine. In lockdown, if she have to perform the chamber, and she already 3 classes, she missed it.
She missed the classes, but don't worry, I'm going to provide it. I'm going to provide the video version of it. So she'll get the video version, and I'm going to announce the timings. All right. So preferably from 3 o'clock. I would prefer 3 o'clock because you'll be at home. All right. If it's 3 o'clock, then I will be
Please take it at evening, not at night.
Evening, what do you mean? 7:30? Okay, I'm gonna
No. 3:30 is good Because
3:30 is good.
even after evening, yeah, after Maghrib, we can do study some.
Okay, sure. 3:30 would be fine. Yeah, for both Pantaput and for online students, I'm gonna make sure it's 3:30, inshallah. I'm gonna announce you the timings, and it'll be a lot easier for you guys to attend the classes. Let's see what happens tomorrow, depending on the situation. And I'm gonna make an announcement as quick as possible. But I just want you to complete this writing task, all right? Just make sure that you finish it and submit me as quick as possible, because I need to check your answers, all right? Based on whatever you send me on your screenshots or how you send it, it's not that difficult if you send me a screenshot here in this group. All right. So also for Rafin and also for Mesbah, this is also your homework. Please try to complete it and submit me, inshallah. I think Rafin has gone. Rafin, is he here? Rafin has gone. Anyways.
Yes, sir.
So Mesbah, I want you to complete this. If you can, then it's much better. Inshallah.
Inshallah, sir. I'll try my level best, sir. Sir, I have a question. That is, if you'll write on my diary, after that I'll take the photo and then I'll submit it.
Yeah, submit it. Yeah.
Okay, sir. I'll do that, inshallah.
Okay.
So
So
homework
Zoom is
from
about to
book
end.
number 11, right?
Book number 11. I'm going to provide you the information,
Yep.
inshallah.
Okay, Allah Hafiz. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you.
Okay. Walaikum salam.
Okay. Allah Hafiz.
See you, inshallah.
Assalamualaikum.
Allah Hafiz.
See you
Walaikum salam.
there.